Hey guys, check out this new Sig P320.
Baby, I don't think you even need me. I think you ought to be doing the video.
No.
Man, she's got the looks and she's got the skills. Man, this is, you guys don't know, this is Star, my beautiful wife, and she's out here with us today. We're going to take a look at this Sig Sauer P320. I'm going to do some shooting and saying, maybe I'll let her do the shooting. Maybe I'll just do the talking. She can do the looking and the shooting. Uh-oh. Hey, Big Pastor T here. Today we've got the Sig Sauer P320 out on the range. What a neat gun Sig Sauer has got for us here. A neat little compact striker-fired pistol. Hey, this pistol has recently, maybe you've been seeing this thing in the news, reading about it. This is the new U.S. Army XM17. The Army has adopted this gun officially as of January 2017 as their new sidearm. What a neat little gun. Gun's clear. What a neat gun. This thing, it's really fun to shoot. As you can tell, I'm having fun with it. I really enjoy it. I've had it for a couple of weeks. I've got this as a T&E gun. And thanks for Saunders Hardware, by the way, for providing this gun for me to shoot so we can see it. Now, let's get in here and look at the other side of this thing too. This one happens to be the compact size. It's the full dark earth frame and slide. Really neat gun, chambered in 9mm, just like the Army gun will be. It's been exciting. As a matter of fact, they're getting a little bit hard to find recently. There's been a lot of buzz about these guns, and people are trying to get their hands on them. I hadn't shot one. They've been out for a couple of years, but I hadn't really had the opportunity to shoot one, get one out here on the range with me. And I've enjoyed it. I've shot maybe 200 or 300 rounds through it. It's a lot of fun. It really handles well. It's got that Sig quality, build quality about it. It's a really well-built gun, completely modular. We'll take this thing apart. I'll show you that in a little bit. We'll take it apart. And the thing the Army was so excited about, the thing they wanted in a new sidearm especially, was that modularity. They want something that the parts will easily come in and out, and you can switch out the trigger group. They call it the fire control module. You can have something that's got different size grips for those of different sizes, different size hands. And they wanted something, I think their specs, the thing they were asking for was something like a gun that would fit about 90% at least of the population as far as hand size, and I think they've done that with this gun. It's a great gun. That's enough talking for a minute. Let's go shoot this thing again. Hey, don't forget, whenever you're shooting steel, I'm out here shooting steel today, and I'm shooting hardened steel. This is AR 500 hardened steel, and when you shoot steel, you got to stay back about 12, 13, 14 yards at least, and we're back about 13 yards from the steel. Be very careful, and you got to always make sure you're wearing your eye protection. So we got that on. Let's go ahead and check it out. Let's do it again. Let's see what this thing will do. Let's say on a couple of these bowling pins and maybe that silhouette target. Oh, we got your 2-liter. Man, I tell you, that thing, the trigger on this gun will surprise you. It's really got a good feel to it. It is a striker-fired gun. It's not like the other Sig triggers that I've been accustomed to shooting. For instance, I've got just for comparison's sake, I've got my old standby P226 here. This one happens to be the extreme version, they call it. Just for comparison's sake, you can kind of see what these guns look like. The 320 is in what they call the compact size. Now this gun, this frame comes in 4 different sizes. They have the subcompact, then they have this one, the compact, and they have a carry, which is the same length sliding barrel with a longer grip, couple of more extra rounds, and then you have the full size gun, which will be about 17 round magazine, I believe. The compact we're shooting today has a 15 round magazine. But again, the trigger's a little different. You know, if you're used to SIG, this gun does have the SIG look. It's unmistakable. If you've been around guns long, you know what a SIG looks like. And this gun does look like a SIG, but it does have a couple of things that are new. You know, the old standby, the 226, one of the arguments against this gun is that it's a double action and then single action trigger. So if the gun, for those of you who don't know what that is, when the gun's loaded, if you load the gun, then the gun is ready to fire. But if you load the gun and then you're going to carry the gun, let's say on duty, and you drop the hammer down, it does have a decocker, so you can safely drop the hammer down on a live round, and that's here, so you can safely drop it down like that. But if you carry it like this, then the first trigger pull when you draw the weapon, the first trigger pull is a double action, meaning the pull of the trigger will cock the hammer and drop the hammer, and so it's a little heavier. After you fire the first round, it will be cocked, and it'll be a single action trigger. It's a lot shorter take up, and it's a lot lighter trigger, and it has caused some people some problems. A lot of people are really not fond of that. Now I like it. I've had this gun for quite a while. I enjoy that. But one of the things the Army wanted to do, this modular XM17 they were asking for, they wanted something that was striker fired, not hammer fired. And so that's what they have there. And it's a little different. We'll talk about some more differences, but I tell you, I love to shoot this gun. It's so much fun. You go through a lot of ammo when you shoot this gun because it's so smooth. And then the 9mm round, now that's a whole other story. There's lots of folks that would say that our military men and women ought to be carrying something with more firepower, something that's a little bit bigger, a bigger caliber, something maybe along the lines of a 45 ACP, like the Army carried for about 70 years. A lot of people make that argument. I'm one of the people that I really love the 45 ACP, but I don't think that the 45 ACP is the only cartridge that would suffice. You know, there's lots of other powerful rounds out there. A lot of people make the argument for a 40 Smith & Wesson or maybe even a 357 SIG. You would think that if SIG was given the opportunity to choose caliber, they may have chosen 357 SIG, but I don't think they had that opportunity. I believe the Army wants to stay with the NATO round, the round that all of our NATO allies are going to have, and I think it makes sense in some ways because it'd be a lot easier, you know, for us to have ammunition and vice versa. So I do understand why they're doing that, but it is a lot of fun. You know, the 9mm round, although maybe it doesn't have as much punch and much power as a lot of people would like, it is a lot of fun to shoot. It's really light in recoil, which is another reason why we've adopted this round back in 1985. You'll remember that that we adopted that round because we're going to have some ladies in action, and certainly we do have that. And we appreciate, by the way, all the men and women of our armed services keeping us safe and giving us the opportunity to do this. You know, we love that. But the 9mm round's a good round. It's a cheap round to shoot. We're shooting this Winchester white box ammo. This stuff comes in, I don't know, maybe 15 bucks a box, 20 bucks, but it's pretty cheap to shoot. It's a good round. It's loaded. It's easy to load. So it's just a fun round. That's enough talking. Let's get out here and see what this thing will do. I love shooting these silhouette. I want to see one. Let's just take one mag through this thing and kind of do a little bit of speed shooting. Let's see if we can keep this thing in a small group out here. Let's get out here about 12 yards. Let's just see what this thing will do with a silhouette. Kind of, you know, for more of a self-defense concealed carry, because this gun would be easily concealed. Let's just see what it'll do. I tell you, it's hard to beat it. There's a whole lot of guns that are a whole lot more expensive than this gun. This gun runs about maybe about $550, $600 bucks, And there's a lot of guns that are quite a bit more expensive than this gun that won't run that well. That won't run as well as this thing. I put a couple hundred rounds through it before the video, and it's not giving me a minute's problem. It really runs smoothly right out of the box. Haven't had to adjust the sights. And this thing, it's easy to keep on target. The way they designed it. You know, one of the knocks about Sig has always been, and I have the same problem when I first got my 226, my first one, I had the same issue with it. The bore axis is really high. The bore axis meaning where the barrel lines up and the slide lines up in comparison with your hand. You know, as you're shooting the gun, any handgun that's semi-automatic is going to have a slide that's moving, and as the slide comes back, it's going to want to flip the muzzle. And so it's more difficult if you have a high bore axis. In theory, it's more difficult to keep the muzzle flipped down and get back on your second shot, follow-up shot. And I haven't found that to be true necessarily of the 226 chambered in 9mm like this one is, but I have heard that, and I've heard a lot of people say that. And so when I first saw this gun, and when I heard about the gun before I had it in my hand, I was hoping that Sig had done something that I've seen Glock doing since, I don't know, 1986, 85. They have, and as a matter of fact, I've got a Glock 19 out here for comparison. This, and we're clear, this Glock 19, if you'll notice how high the bore axis is in comparison with my hand. And so as the slide is working, I can stay really high up on the gun to keep the muzzle flip to a minimum and stay on target. It's one of the reasons why this design, you know, by Glock that's been out now for 30 years has really been so well accepted. You know, this 19, I would say, of all semi-automatic 9mm, this one's probably the most popular. You know, the gun that's probably carried by more people than any other semi-automatic. And I was really hoping that Sig would kind of pick up on that. So if we could, let's get the camera in here and look at this. You see the difference in the bore axis here. If I put the bores in line, you can see how much lower the bore your hand is compared to the bore axis with the Glock. This is a Glock 19. It's a lot different, and you would think that certainly would cause a tremendous amount of muzzle flip. Now, I'm not going to say that it doesn't. I do think that they could have, in my opinion, I do think they could have raised this, this beaver tail, this semi-beaver tail. I think they could have raised your hand position up a little bit, and probably the gun would be even better than it is. But I'm just here to tell you, I mean, just like it is, this gun is just about as good to me. It shoots just about as good as my Glock 19. Now, I've had a lot of Glocks. I've enjoyed the Glocks over the years. I've shot from Generation 1 through Generation 4. I love them. They're a go-to gun. But I do believe if you're not a Glock guy, and I know there's a lot of people that are not, Glock people, and I'm not just sold out on Glock. I like all firearms, but if you're not just sold out and you got to have a Glock, I tell you might want to try the Sig P320, especially if you like that striker fired trigger. That thing has got, let me load some more ammo here while we're talking, because I want to shoot it some more, but that thing has got such a sweet trigger. You can, it's like every striker fired trigger that I'm used to firing. You got some take up, and then you're gonna find the second stage of the trigger. You're gonna feel the pressure against it, and you know where it's gonna fall. You know where the striker's gonna break, and I like that. It's what I look for in a pistol. I just want to know when the gun's going to fire, and it feels good in my hand. Now, it's got a different feel. It doesn't have the Glock safe trigger. It doesn't have that. It does have, matter of fact, I'll take it apart after I shoot it a little bit more, but it does have a safety here, for the trigger, but it's just not external like the Glock safety trigger is. But it's a little bit different feel. It's got a little more curve to it. It's got that wide trigger shoe, the little feel of the Sig. It does feel like a traditional Sig in that sense, but it is quite different. It is really night and day between this trigger system and the double action, single action hammer gun. There's a lot of difference. Hey, let's shoot it one more time. Let's see what we can do with this thing. Let's see. We went fast. Let's just shoot a variety. Let's see how the gun points. Let's see if we can move from target to target. Like I say, we're standing back here about 40 feet away. So let's just see what this thing will do. I'll say this about it. It shoots better than I do. I'll say that. It's hard to miss with this gun. This gun is so easy to shoot, and even I've had my oldest son out here, my youngest son, my daughter. They've been out here with me shooting this thing, and they would agree this thing is a light shooter, and this thing really does shoot where you point. And that's what I like about them. Let's just break it down and take a look. I should have done this before the barrel got warm. It's probably going to be kind of warm, but let's just take a look and see what it does. So you lock the slide back. Again, we're empty. First thing you want to do when you take a gun apart is be sure that you've got an empty gun. There's no magazine. There's nothing in the chamber. We got it locked back. We're going to pull this takedown lever down. We're going to simply press the slide release, and notice I don't touch the trigger, and the slide and the barrel, the recoil rod and spring just slide right off. You're familiar with that, for instance, with a Glock. Difference is with the Glock, and one of the things I want to show you is with the Glock, notice I've got a magazine. Now we'll check this gun again. We see a follower here. We know it's empty magazine. We have nothing in the chamber. Now here's what I want you to notice. I drop it down, but I've got to pull the trigger. Now, you guys have Glocks, you know what I'm talking about. You just pull that and you come back, but I had to pull the trigger. And the other thing I want you to notice is this gun, this Glock, will allow me to disassemble and field strip it without taking out the magazine. I had a magazine in the gun. Now, I just feel like that's something Glock could improve upon for safety purposes, because if you had a loaded gun, or if you had maybe you didn't have anything in the chamber, but you had a loaded magazine and you racked it, then you had to pull the trigger. I just think you're just waiting for an accident. Most competent gun people know better. But I do think they could probably take a note from Sig in that respect. I didn't have to pull the trigger. It's nice, and it will not, if I put it back in there, it will not allow me, with the magazine inserted in the gun, it will not allow me to take the gun down. So I do like that. So once we get it apart, this part, the slide, it's got a captured recoil spring, the barrel, all of this looks familiar. If you've been shooting and been around any of these poly guns over the last 25, 30 years, this will look familiar to you. It's got an external extractor on it. They've got this, they call this a PVD finish on the slide. I like the color. It's kind of a burnt bronze or something like that. I like it. It's got the Sig quality. You certainly can see that. You can see the striker here, and it's got a little safety here beside it. So, I do like that. It's really machined well. Here's where we're going to see things change a little bit. So we see this, and we can even see this if we compare it with the Glock. You can see, it's very similar. You've got the frame, the poly frame. You've got all the steel parts in here with the trigger group, striker, and that kind of thing. But here's where we're going to see a little difference. If I want to pull that out of the Glock, I got to start pushing pins and getting punches out and that kind of thing. But here's the modularity. With Sig, I simply rotate this takedown lever out. I pull up on the front. I've done this. I'll probably mess it up now. And then kind of pull it forward, and this whole thing comes out. And this is called, by the way, Sig calls this the fire module, or firing module. And you'll notice the serial numbers on this part of the gun. Now, this is the gun. According to the ATF, this is the gun. This is the serial numbered part of the gun. This is the gun. Here's where things are really cool. This is a grip module, and this grip module is not a gun. This grip module is just a part of a gun. It's poly, and this one is, like I said before, this is the compact FDE version, but you can get this in a black, and you can get this in a subcompact, a carry, or a full size. And if you bring the camera in, you'll see this. Also, this gun is a medium frame. Now, Glock for a while has been doing grip inserts. M&P, it does that. There's a lot of the poly guns are doing that from the major manufacturers, but Sig's got something different. Some people really like it. Some people think it's overkill, but you can order your own grip module They run about 45 bucks retail. So you can get the size grip module that you like, and this firing module will just drop right in. Now, if you're going to change, if you wanted to go, let's say, from compact frame to a full-size carry, you can do that. This firing module will drop right in. You're going to have to get a longer slide, and you're going to have to get a longer barrel. And now you can also change calibers. You can keep this module. This module's good for 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, and let's see, the 357 Sig. And you can if you want 45 ACP, they make different grip modules for that. So it's really neat. That's the modularity. That's the thing that the U.S. government wanted. You think about a bunch of our military guys and gals out there in the field in battle. You know, this would be an armorer's dream. He can drop these in and out. He can fit people on the fly. Really simple to do. No gunsmithing necessary. It's a really neat design. Some people really love it. Some people are not quite so sure. I know $40, 45 bucks is a little bit to spend when you know, let's say for instance you buy a new Gen 4 Glock, you get all four different, I think there's four different grip inserts in there. But when you think about that, if you bought, let's say, 2 different sizes of grip module, and then you bought a different barrel, you could have 3, 4, 5 different guns when you assembled them. And I do think that's a pretty good value. I like the idea. So enough of that. Let's see if we can get it back in. So here we go. I read the book, but I found that it was easier for me to do this, kind of drop the back end just a little bit, and then I just press the trigger just to get it through the opening, and then kind of come in, and then I press back on it. Now, some of you, I know, and I may struggle with this time, but I know I've heard this, I've seen this in forums, people are having a hard time getting this this takedown pin back in. But if you pull it back and then kind of just turn this around, it does get in. There's a little notch, you can see it in there, but you can just kind of feel your way through, and it will just kind of drop right in, just like that. And I am not very mechanical, but this thing, it is fail-safe, and it's very, very user-friendly. So I do enjoy it. It's easy to clean. It's easier to get to. I will say this, it's easier to get to the trigger group and all the parts, and it's easier to clean that than it is, for instance, the Glock that I was talking about. Hey, let's shoot it some more. I do want to do one more thing. I want to show you just a comparison of the also the M9. I've got a Turkish version of an M9 that was given to me for T&E, and I want to compare that. But let me shoot this thing again. I know you guys want to see it shot, just like I want to shoot. I want to shoot it more than you want to see it shot. I love this thing. And matter of fact, after having this thing for a little while, I'm kind of fond of it. I got a birthday coming up. I'm thinking maybe this is what I need for my birthday. I really do enjoy shooting this thing. It'd be a good gun to carry too. I think I would prefer the compact size like I have here. I think that's the size I would carry, and I'd probably carry it on a belt holster. That's what I'd like. So let's shoot it again. Let's just see what it'll do. Let's get over here and see if we can hit this bullseye with this thing. Well, you know what I've done? Let me just teach you something about how I messed this thing up. Let's go back over here to the table. I've loaded my Glock magazine. Have you ever done that? I've loaded my Glock magazine up, and I didn't mean to load my Glock magazine. So let me just pop this baby out, and let's go on this. See, hey, I've got a couple of magazines, by the way, that came with this Sig, but I brought my supplies out here. I've kind of got them all mixed up, and I decided I was just going to use this one magazine today. When I had 2 out here the other day, man, I was flying through the bullets. So I'm just trying to not shoot as many rounds today as I've been doing. But this thing is so much fun. It comes with 2 magazines. Now, Sig magazine's pretty high, and this one's no different. They're just a little bit pricey, but I know that Pro Mag and Metgar, they make some pretty good magazines for these guns as well. So, okay, let's see what we can do now with this silhouette. Man, that would absolutely tear an assailant up. This thing right out of the box. I mean, this is not any kind of target sight. These are Sig Light night sights. They're not high profile. They're pretty good sights. You know, I don't know how much experience you might have with fiber optic sights. These are not bright and contrasting like that. They are Sig Light, which is their proprietary name for their night sights. Really good night sights. Like, they're really good at night, and they do glow. I've tried it out at night. They really glow. So if you're going to use the gun for home defense, or you're going to be out concealed carry with a gun, and you're going to be out at night, really great option. If I was going to use this gun primarily for a range gun, I'd probably go with fiber optic sights. But I do like these sights. They're really good sights. Same sights I have on that P226 that's mine. So I enjoy that. Hey, and also I was talking about carrying this gun as concealed carry. It does come with, this 320 comes with a hard pistol case, comes with a couple of magazines, comes with this molded holster. I've tried it out. It's a paddle holster. It's a pretty decent holster. I might be carrying there. I tend to like leather holsters a little better, but I certainly would not shy away from this. I think it's a good holster. So let's just, as we close this thing out, let's just take a look at what the Army has been using. The Army has been in 1985, I'll give you a little history lesson. In 1985, the U.S. Army, they wanted to have a new sidearm to replace the 1911. We'll just check this thing for safety. We're clear here. They wanted to have a new sidearm that replaced the venerable 1911. This happens to be, by the way, a Chiappa firearms import, Turkish import model, but you'll see it says U.S. 9mm M9. It's very similar to the Beretta 92, we'd call it, which is the Beretta M9. And so this is the gun. This Beretta, or it was a Beretta 92, became the Beretta M9. That's the gun in 1985 that won. Well, it didn't win. Let's be honest. It came in second place in the competition, if it will, or in the whatever the trials were. It came in second place, and you say, well, why did they pick that? And what was first? Well, this gun was second place. Guess what was first? The Sig P320 came in first place. This gun was designed, not this particular style, but this gun was designed for that in 1985. This gun was a little bit more money per unit, and so the Army chose to go with a second place finisher, a little bit cheaper, and that was the Beretta 92, became the M9, also chambered in 9mm. We went away from the 45 ACP to the 9mm. That's the gun. Just a quick comparison between the two. And this is, again, it may not be fair. This is a compact. This is a full size. There's a little difference you can see in the grip height. There's a little bit of difference. It's probably a little bit thicker. If we look at the frame, it's probably a little bit thicker. The slide's a little thicker. It's a heavier gun. It's just be honest. It's a heavier gun. There's been a lot of complaints about this gun. It's not modular like that one is, but it's been a good gun. A lot of people really like it. I really like this gun. The gun shoots well on the range. Would not want to carry it. Way too heavy and a little large for me, as big as I am. But I'd rather carry something a little smaller. And I do like, and I thank Glock for this, I do like the striker-fired pistols for carry. So I think it's going to be a good choice. I tell you, it's something that if you've never had one of these in your hand, it's something you ought to try out. It's something, if you have an opportunity to get with somebody to say on the range somewhere, or if you're looking to buy a striker-fired gun, I definitely could say I'd recommend this Sig P320. I think you'd be happy with it. And because that Sig has won this $580 million plus contract with the U.S. Army, you can be rest assured there's going to be parts, there's going to be accessories, there's going to be lots and lots of things you can do with this gun for years to come. Let's shoot one more mag through it. I know you can't wait to see it shot one more time. Hang in there with me just for about another 30 seconds, and let's see what this thing will do. Let's have a little fun now. This gun shoot better than I can, but I want to see what it'll do. We're going to go all the way around the range with this thing. Man, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Hey, thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching this. If you get an opportunity, get one of these. And let me just close this thing out by saying this. God gave us liberty. God gave us guns. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings. Have a great day.